Ever try to fix a massive problem in your life, only to feel like your frantic efforts are actively making things worse? You're paddling harder, but the water keeps rising, and you're sinking faster. This is what happens when you apply sheer effort without a stable base to support it. You have the energy, you have the intent, but you have nothing to stand on. It is action without foundation. Psychologists call the antidote to this state distress tolerance. It's the ability to remain functional and composed under extreme pressure, resisting the urge to seek immediate, premature relief. Because before we can solve any crisis, we first have to learn how to bear its weight without collapsing. Thousands of years ago, Hindu cosmology captured this exact psychological trap. The story goes that the celestial gods, the Devas, lost their power to arrogance. To survive and restore the cosmic balance, they had to churn the universe's great ocean to retrieve the nectar of immortality. The scale of this operation was immense. They formed an alliance with their enemies, the Asuras. They uprooted an entire peak, Mount Mandara, to use as a giant churning rod, and wrapped the great serpent Vasuki around it to act as a rope. But the moment they began to pull, they encountered a catastrophic design flaw. The mountain was simply too heavy. As the waters violently churned, the great peak began sinking directly into the ocean depths. They had divine power, they had perfect strategy, but all their collective strength was completely useless because there was nothing beneath the mountain to hold it up. Even the most heroic efforts are doomed if the underlying foundation cannot bear the friction of transformation. To save the operation, Lord Vishnu intervened, descending into the ocean's darkest depths to take the form of the Kurma Avatar, a colossal cosmic tortoise. He doesn't fight, he doesn't offer a grand speech. He simply positions himself at the ocean floor, placing his vast, indestructible shell directly beneath the sinking mountain, and absorbs its crushing weight. With that single point of unshakable support in place, the mountain stabilizes, the churning safely resumes. This strategy of deliberate withdrawal into a shell serves a vital biological function. By creating a boundary that reduces external stimuli, the nervous system is able to recover and integrate experience without being overwhelmed. It is a strategic move to consolidate strength before re-engaging with the environment. This is the Kurma principle. True power in a crisis arises from the capacity to become the unseen, unshakable ground beneath the chaos. We don't have to look to mythology to find this archetype. History is held together by ordinary people who match this exact psychological profile. Take September 1983, inside a secret Soviet nuclear bunker. Duty officer Stanislav Petrov watched his screens light up with alarms indicating incoming American nuclear missiles. Protocol demanded an immediate counterstrike. Instead, Petrov absorbed the immense pressure of the moment. He reasoned the system was glitching and chose to sit perfectly still. He was right. Or look at Europe in 1938 as the shadow of the Holocaust began to fall. A 29-year-old stockbroker named Nicholas Winton stepped in to act as an unseen foundation for a collapsing society. From hotel rooms and dining tables, Winton quietly forged documents and coordinated a massive underground railroad. He rescued 669 children from the Nazis, operating entirely in the background. Neither of these men sought glory. Winton didn't even tell his own wife about his actions for nearly 50 years. They saw civilization beginning to sink and simply placed themselves beneath the weight. They are modern Kurma avatars. Ordinary humans who held the weight of a churning world simply by refusing to break under the pressure. Back in the cosmic ocean, the churning finally produces its first result, hala hala, a world-destroying poison. This illustrates the law of every deep churning. When we attempt to heal or transform our own minds, the most toxic elements, repressed anger, deep grief, and buried fears, surface first. The myth tells us that this darkness must be confronted and contained. Only after the poison is managed can the amrita, the divine nectar of wisdom and immortality, finally emerge from the depths. You cannot skip the poison to get to the nectar. Emotional maturity requires the capacity to sit with and endure the darkest parts of your own churning process. You can develop this capacity for yourself through a simple exercise when the pressure starts to feel unmanageable. First, establish a physical anchor. Sit with your feet flat on the ground. Surrender your weight to gravity and deliberately feel the earth pressing back up against you. Acknowledge that you have an immovable base. Next, create an internal boundary. Visualize a strong, luminous shell surrounding your entire body, a space where your inner self rests safely while the external storm continues outside. Acknowledge your presence in this moment. I am here. I am held. Even if a mountain rests upon me, I will not collapse. Before you seek the treasure of transformation, you must learn to stand on something deeper than your ambition. In a world in constant motion, the most radical act is stillness.